Don't wait up. Girls only. My name is Tyler Maddox. I'm 32. Work construction management for Gravora Group in Denver, Colorado. And I was supposed to marry Alyssa Phillips in 3 weeks. That Friday night, she kissed my cheek and grabbed her overnight bag for her Bachelorette weekend in Vegas. Something in her voice didn't sit right with me. I'd been with Alyssa for 4 years. Met her at a coffee shop on 17th Street when she spilled her latte on my work boots. We laughed about it, exchanged numbers, and she became the center of my world. She was beautiful, ambitious, worked in marketing for a tech startup downtown. Everyone said we were perfect together. But lately, things felt different. She'd started going out more with her friends, staying later at work events, coming home with stories that didn't quite add up. When I'd ask questions, she'd get defensive. "You don't trust me," she'd say. And I'd back down because I didn't want to be that guy. Her best friend, Vanessa, had been pushing the Bachelorette weekend hard. "One last wild night before you're tied down forever," she kept saying. Alyssa would laugh and agree, but something in her eyes looked hungry. Not for marriage, for something else. The morning she left, I made coffee and watched her pack. She threw in clothes I'd never seen before. Tight dresses, expensive lingerie still with tags on them. When I asked about it, she shrugged. "The girls wanted us to dress up. It's Vegas." I kissed her goodbye at the door. She smelled like the perfume I'd bought her for Christmas, but she was wearing makeup at 7:00 a.m. for a flight. "I love you," I told her. "Love you too," she said. But she was already checking her phone. After she left, I sat in our kitchen drinking coffee from the mug she'd given me last Valentine's Day. It said, "World's Best Fiancée" in faded letters. I stared at it for a long time, trying to shake the feeling that something was about to break. That afternoon, I got a text from her, "Made it safe, miss you already," with a heart emoji. But when I called that evening, it went straight to voicemail. Same thing Saturday morning. I told myself she was just having fun with her friends. But deep down, I knew. The way she'd been pulling away for months, the way she'd stopped talking about our future, the way she looked at other men when she thought I wasn't watching. I just didn't know how bad it was going to get. I grew up in a house where my father worked 60-hour weeks to keep food on the table and my mother held everything together with duct tape and prayer. They taught me that love meant showing up every single day, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. That's what I'd been doing with Alyssa for 4 years, showing up. When she got promoted and started working late, I cooked dinner and kept it warm. When her startup went through layoffs and she stressed about money, I covered rent for 3 months without making her feel small about it. When she wanted to take that expensive photography class, I picked up extra weekend shifts to pay for it. I thought that's what partners did. You supported each other. You built something together. But looking back, I started noticing things. How she changed after getting that promotion 6 months ago. Started going to more work events, staying out later with colleagues. She'd come home talking about her boss Gabriel, how smart he was, how he really understood her career goals. "He thinks I have real potential," she'd say, and I'd nod and ask about her day. Then there were the new friends. Vanessa from her yoga class, who was recently divorced and always talking about how marriage was just a piece of paper. Jessica from work, who bragged about her dating apps and one-night stands. They'd invite Alyssa out for drinks and she'd come home later and later, sometimes not remembering exactly what they'd talked about. "We just needed to blow off steam," she'd say when I'd ask. "You wouldn't understand." I started to feel like I was competing for my own fiancé's attention. She'd be on her phone during dinner, texting with friends about plans I wasn't part of. When I'd suggest we do something together on weekends, she'd already have made other commitments. The worst part was how she started looking at me like I was boring, safe, predictable, like I was something she'd outgrown. 2 weeks before the Vegas trip, we went to her company holiday party. I watched her laugh with Gabriel and his friends. Saw how she lit up around them in a way she didn't with me anymore. When we got home that night, she was quiet. Everything okay? I asked. Just tired, she said. But she stayed up for another hour texting someone. I should have confronted her then. Should have asked the hard questions. But I loved her and I was scared of the answers. So I told myself I was being paranoid, that pre-wedding jitters were normal. I wish I'd trusted my gut instead. Sunday morning, I woke up expecting to hear from Alyssa. Her flight was supposed to land at 2:00 p.m. I'd planned to pick her up, maybe grab dinner somewhere nice, hear about her weekend. Instead, I got a text at 11:00 a.m. Flight delayed. Getting later 1. Don't wait up. No heart emoji this time. No miss you, just information. I called her number straight to voicemail again. That's when my phone buzzed with a message from Vanessa. Not Alyssa's friend Vanessa. My sister Vanessa, who worked for the hotel chain where Alyssa's group was staying. Tyler, we need to talk. Can you come over? My sister lived 20 minutes away in Lakewood. I drove there with my stomach churning, not sure why. When I walked into her kitchen, she had her laptop open and a look on her face I'd never seen before. Sit down, she said. What's going on? She turned the laptop toward me. Security footage, black and white, but clear enough. The hotel bar from Friday night. There was Alyssa in one of those new dresses laughing with a man I'd never seen before. His hand was on her lower back. She was leaning into him. There's more, Vanessa said quietly. The next clip showed them in the elevator kissing, her hands in his hair, his pressed against the wall behind her. I stared at the screen. How did you get this? I work security coordination for the chain. When I saw her name on the guest list, I thought I'd check in, make sure everything was okay. Then I saw the incident reports. Incident reports. She clicked to another file. Noise complaints. Room 1247. Friday night. Saturday night. Multiple partners. The words hit me like a physical blow. Multiple partners. Tyler. There were 3 different men. Different nights. The footage shows everything. I sat there looking at my hands. 4 years. An engagement ring that cost me 2 months' salary. A wedding planned for 3 weeks from now. Deposits paid. Invitations sent. Family flying in from out of state. I'm sorry, Vanessa said. I didn't know if I should tell you, but you did the right thing. I stood up. My legs felt unsteady, but my mind was suddenly crystal clear. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't one bad decision in Vegas. This was who she really was, and I'd been too blind to see it. Can you send me copies of everything? Vanessa nodded. What are you going to do? I looked at her laptop screen one more time. Alyssa was laughing in the footage, her head thrown back, looking happier than I'd seen her in months. I'm going to disappear. I drove home in silence. No music, no phone calls, just me and the road and the sound of my life falling apart. But for the first time in months, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I spent Sunday afternoon making lists. Not angry lists, practical ones. Wedding vendors to call, deposits to cancel, flights to change for family members, my half of our shared accounts to transfer to my own name, utility bills to switch back to my name only. Alyssa still hadn't called. By 6:00 p.m., I'd canceled the wedding venue, the caterer, and the photographer. Lost some deposits, got others back. The florist was understanding. Happens more than you'd think, she said. Better now than after. I was going through our shared cloud storage when I found more evidence. Photos from her phone that had autosync. Alyssa in bed with different men. Screenshots of text conversations planning her weekend that made my stomach turn. Girls trip my ass. One message read, I'm going to get it out of my system before I'm stuck with boring Tyler forever. Another one to someone named Brad. Can't wait to see you Friday. Tyler has no idea. He's so trusting. It's almost cute. I screenshotted everything. Then I deleted my access to her accounts and changed all my passwords. At 8:00 p.m., I started packing her things. Everything she'd left in our apartment. Clothes, books, the coffee mug collection she was so proud of. I folded everything neatly like she would have wanted. Put it all in boxes and labeled them clearly. My phone rang around 9:00 p.m. Alyssa. I let it go to voicemail. Hey baby. Finally landed. I'm exhausted. Just wanted to say goodnight. I'll see you tomorrow after work. Love you. Her voice sounded different. Guilty maybe, or just tired from 3 nights of betraying everything we'd built together. I blocked her number. Then I blocked her on every social media platform, every messaging app, every way she had to reach me. I wanted her to come home to silence, to wonder, to worry, to feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. Monday morning, I called in sick to work. Spent the day moving her boxed belongings to the building's storage unit in the basement. Left a note with the building manager, Alyssa Phillips's belongings. She'll pick them up when she's ready. I changed the locks on our apartment door. By Tuesday, she was panicking. I could tell because mutual friends started calling me. Alyssa's trying to reach you. My buddy Jake said she's worried something happened. Tell her I'm fine, I said. What's going on, man? She seems really upset. I almost laughed. She was upset. Just tell her to check the storage unit. Wednesday, she showed up at my work site. I watched from the trailer window as she talked to my foreman. Saw her gesturing frantically. She looked different, scared. Her hair was still styled from Vegas, her makeup carefully done, but her eyes were red. My foreman came into the trailer. Some woman outside says she's your fiancé, says it's an emergency. I don't have a fiancé, I said without looking up from my blueprints. He went back outside. I watched him talk to her, saw her face crumple when he delivered the message. She stood there for a long time staring at the trailer, probably hoping I'd come out. I didn't. Thursday morning, I got a call from her friend Jessica. Tyler, what the hell is going on? Alyssa's falling apart. She says you won't talk to her. There's nothing to talk about. Come on. Whatever happened in Vegas, you guys can work through it. She loves you. I hung up. That afternoon, I drove to a real estate office in Boulder. Started looking at houses, small ones, just for me. The agent was enthusiastic. Investment property, she asked. Fresh start, I said. By Friday, word was getting around. Alyssa had told people the wedding was postponed due to a family emergency. But our friends weren't stupid. When the groom disappears and blocks the bride on everything, it's not hard to figure out what really happened. I was done being Tyler the victim. I was becoming Tyler the ghost. 2 weeks passed before I learned the full scope of what Alyssa had done in Vegas. My sister Vanessa called on a Thursday evening. You need to see something, she said. I've been digging deeper into the hotel records. We met at a diner in Thornton. She brought a tablet with more security footage and incident reports. It wasn't just the 3 men. She said there were others at the pool at the casino. She was telling people she was single. One of the bartenders remembered her specifically because she was bragging about playing the field before settling down. She showed me receipts from the hotel bar. Drinks charged to Alyssa's room for different men each night. Room service orders that made it clear she wasn't alone. The worst part, Vanessa continued, is what she told people about you. My stomach dropped. What did she say? One of the hotel staff overheard her talking to her friends. She called you controlling. Said you were boring in bed. Told them she was only marrying you for financial security. The words hit like individual punches. 4 years of my life. Every sacrifice I'd made. Every extra shift I'd worked. Every time I'd put her needs before mine. To her, I was just a safety net. There's something else, Vanessa said. I found out who one of the men was. Gabriel, her boss. Of course it was. All those late nights at work. All those conversations about how he understood her career goals. I'd been funding her affair without knowing it. Paying rent while she built relationships with men who saw her as entertainment. Gabriel's married, Vanessa added. Has 2 kids, his wife has no idea. I stared out the diner window at the parking lot. Cars coming and going. People living their normal lives while mine had been alive for who knows how long. "What are you going to do?" Vanessa asked. I thought about it. The old Tyler would have confronted her, would have demanded explanations, fought for the relationship, tried to fix what was broken. The old Tyler believed in second chances and working through problems. But the old Tyler had been played for a fool. "I'm going to let her destroy herself," I said. That weekend, I drove down to Austin and put an offer on a small house in the Barton Hills neighborhood. Cash offer, quick close. The seller accepted immediately. I gave my boss 2 weeks' notice, told him I was starting my own consulting business. He was disappointed but understanding. "You've got the skills," he said. "You'll do fine." I started transferring my life to Texas piece by piece. New bank account, new phone number, new address. I kept the old phone active just long enough to see what would happen. The calls from Melissa's friends intensified. Then her family started reaching out. Her mother left a voicemail crying, begging me to call back, saying Alyssa was going through something and needed support. I deleted it without finishing it. Her father sent a text. "Son, whatever's wrong, we can fix it. Alyssa loves you." I wanted to text back. "Ask your daughter what she did in Vegas." But I didn't. Silence was more powerful than any explanation I could give. 3 weeks after Vegas, I saw a social media post from one of her friends, Alyssa, in bed looking sick, with the caption, "Prayers for my girl who's going through a rough patch." Good. Let her suffer. Let her wonder. Let her explain to everyone why her fiancé disappeared without a word. The truth would come out eventually. It always does. And when it did, I'd be long gone. Moving to Austin took 2 months. I found temporary housing, got my contractor's license transferred, and started reaching out to construction companies who might need an experienced project manager. The beauty of disappearing completely was watching the aftermath from a distance. My old Denver friends started posting things that made it clear word was spreading. Jake posted a photo from a bar with the caption, "When your buddy dodges a bullet and doesn't even know it yet." Comments underneath were telling. Good for Tyler. She had it coming. Always knew something was off about her. Alyssa had started posting constantly on social media. Desperate attempts to look happy and successful. Photos of expensive dinners she couldn't afford. Workout selfies with motivational quotes about becoming your best self. Professional headshot with captions about new beginnings. But the comment section told the real story. Friends were pulling away. People who used to engage with her posts were conspicuously silent. The few comments she got were polite but distant. I heard through mutual connections that she'd gotten fired from her job. Apparently, her performance had tanked after Vegas. She was calling in sick, missing deadlines, making mistakes that cost the company money. When they let her go, she tried to claim it was because of personal issues, but everyone knew the real reason. Gabriel, her married boss, had thrown her under the bus to save his own career. When rumors started circulating about their affair, he'd gone straight to HR and claimed she'd been inappropriate with him. Made it sound like she was the predator and he was the victim. She couldn't prove otherwise. The Vegas footage my sister had could have helped her case, but she didn't know it existed. And I wasn't about to give it to her. Without her job, she couldn't afford our old apartment. I heard she'd moved back in with her parents. At 29, with a failed engagement and a reputation in ruins, she was sleeping in her childhood bedroom, trying to figure out what went wrong. Meanwhile, I was building something new. I'd landed a contract with Travant Corporation, a major developer in Austin. They needed someone to oversee a mixed-use project downtown. The pay was better than anything I'd made in Denver, and the work was challenging in ways that excited me. I bought furniture for my new house. Simple stuff chosen for me, not for someone else's taste. I joined a gym, started hiking the trails around Austin, took up cooking. For the first time in years, I was living for myself. The best part was the podcast idea. I'd always been good at reading people, understanding motivations, seeing through lies. What I'd been through with Alyssa had sharpened those skills. I started recording episodes about relationships, betrayal, self-respect. Called it Clear Signals. The first episode was titled When Someone Shows You Who They Are, Believe Them. I talked about red flags, about the difference between supporting someone and enabling them, about the courage it takes to walk away from something that looks good but feels wrong. I didn't mention Alyssa by name. I didn't have to. The stories spoke for themselves. The download numbers started small, but they grew. People were hungry for honest conversations about relationships without the usual therapy speak or self-help platitudes. I talked about things the way men actually experience them. Episode 5 was called The Power of Silence. It was about what happens when you stop trying to convince someone to value you and start valuing yourself instead. That one went viral. By then, it was clear that leaving Denver had been the best decision I'd ever made. I was building a life that was completely my own, funded by my own work, shaped by my own choices. I wasn't running from anything anymore. I was running towards something better. 6 months after I disappeared, the truth came out in the worst possible way for Alyssa. Her friend Jessica, the one who'd called me trying to play peacemaker, had kept screenshots of everything. The group chat from Vegas where Alyssa bragged about her conquests, photos she'd sent of herself with different men, text messages planning her affairs and mocking our relationship. Jessica had been sitting on the evidence, probably hoping Alyssa would come clean or at least show some remorse. Instead, Alyssa had been telling everyone I'd abandoned her for no reason, playing the victim, claiming I'd had some kind of breakdown and disappeared, leaving her heartbroken and confused. The final straw came when Alyssa started dating someone new, posted photos of them together with captions about finally finding someone who appreciates me and learning to trust again after being abandoned. That's when Jessica snapped. She posted everything, screenshots, photos, the whole Vegas weekend laid out in devastating detail. Tagged Alyssa, tagged her family, tagged our mutual friends. Caption: Since Alyssa keeps lying about why Tyler left, here's the truth. I wasn't on social media anymore, but Vanessa called me laughing. You need to see this, she said. It's everywhere. The post had hundreds of comments within hours. People who'd known us both were appalled. Her family was mortified. Her new boyfriend commented, "What the hell, Alyssa?" and then deleted his own photos with her. But the best part was what happened next. Someone had forwarded the evidence to Gabriel's wife. She didn't just divorce him. She took screenshots of the Vegas footage my sister had leaked and sent them to his company's board of directors. Gabriel got fired within a week. Lost his job, his marriage, his reputation. Had to move back in with his parents at 42 years old. The other men from Vegas weren't spared either. One was a local politician whose career ended when the photos went public. Another was a youth pastor who got removed from his position immediately. Alyssa's world didn't just crumble. It exploded. By the time the dust settled, I was doing better than I'd ever dreamed possible. My podcast had grown to over 50,000 monthly downloads. I'd been invited to speak at conferences about relationships and personal boundaries. Companies were reaching out about sponsorship deals. The construction business was thriving too. Trevant had offered me a partnership track, and I was considering starting my own firm instead. I bought a bigger house in South Austin with a home studio for the podcast. Started dating a woman named Claire who worked for the city planning department. She was smart, honest, direct. When I told her my story, she said, "Good for you for walking away. Most people stay too long." Meanwhile, Alyssa's consequences kept multiplying. She'd moved to Phoenix, trying to escape the reputation that followed her online. But the internet doesn't forget. Any potential employer who Googled her name found the screenshots. Dating was impossible because men would recognize her from the viral posts. Her family had distanced themselves after the public humiliation. Her father, who'd once considered me a son, had called to apologize. "I didn't know," he said. "I'm sorry for what she put you through." Gabriel's wife had started her own blog about recovering from infidelity. She'd mentioned the Vegas incident several times, keeping the story alive in search results. The youth pastor had been forced to make a public apology to his congregation. The politician had withdrawn from his re-election campaign. Everyone who'd been part of Alyssa's weekend of betrayal faced real lasting consequences. I recorded a final podcast episode about the situation 6 months later. Called it, "Justice Isn't Always Immediate, but It's Always Fair." Sometimes, I said into the microphone, the best revenge is just living well while the truth catches up to everyone else. I'd learned that the hardest thing about betrayal isn't the initial pain. It's trusting yourself enough to walk away when someone shows you who they really are.